Well, first off, should we give you a copy of our budget and also have a couple brochures and a card?
Should I pass these around too?
Yes, you may.
Hi, so my name is Laura Drotar.
Hi, Molly Maynard.
I'm Katrina Candiori.
And I'm Michelle Abraham.
We are all the CEOs of Conscious Cartons. So Conscious Cartons is a reusable egg carton service. We have recognized a major problem economically and environmentally with the egg cartons of today, and we strive to address these issues with returnable and reusable egg cartons. So you may ask, why are we choosing eggs? The average American consumes about 250 eggs per year, and eggs in their current packaging, they tend to break. So flimsy egg cartons can cause them to break and can also cause the cartons to puncture, and it looks bad in the grocery stores. Cartons are also surprisingly expensive. If cartons, just like the paper or styrofoam carton, can cost 45 cents for a paper one, or a styrofoam one can cost about 28 cents, and that's really surprisingly expensive compared to like how cheap eggs actually are. And it also has a lot of environmental impacts just on the cartons, and Katrina can tell you more about that.
Okay, so all the types of cartons that there are for eggs produce a lot of waste, and a lot of them end up in landfills, and so that's the problem that we're trying to alleviate. So making styrofoam causes a lot of problems and creates a lot of waste. The technical term for styrofoam is polystyrene, and it's a petroleum-based plastic, and as you all know, that's not sustainable, and it causes a lot of problems. Polystyrene is the 5th largest contributor to hazardous waste, according to the EPA, and it's made with HCFC22, which is a hydrochlorofluorocarbon, and it's a lot like CFCs, but it doesn't damage the ozone layer quite as much, and it's also a greenhouse gas, so it contributes to global warming. And styrene is also hazardous to human health, both for consumers and for workers. It can cause irritation of the skin and eyes, and also can affect the nervous system. And the chemicals that are expelled in the making of it causes air pollution, as well as solid and liquid waste. And then when you dispose of the styrofoam carton, there are also a lot of problems. Styrofoam takes 500 years to decompose, and landfills are composed of 25 to 30% of styrofoam. And styrofoam is also a main contributor to the waste that's found in oceans. And styrofoam can be recycled, but it's a really complicated process, and it's not environment and economically desirable, and so a lot of curbside services don't accept styrofoam. Cardboard egg cartons claim to be the greener option, but they're really not. They're made of 100% recycled paper, which is good, but recycling the cardboard carton is really hard to do because it breaks down the machinery, and it's not really biodegradable because it's so compact that it doesn't let in air, water, or microorganisms. And a lot of resources go into making it, which produces a lot of waste, and it uses up a lot of energy. And also the cardboard can hold in dirt and germs and bacteria. And then the plastic egg cartons that are currently available are really thin, and eggs often break. They're not biodegradable. They're made of dangerous compounds and release dangerous chemicals into the environment, And they can be recycled, but people often don't do that.
So our proposed solution for the egg carton dilemma is to use reusable and returnable egg cartons made from biodegradable plastics. Our solution is really easy to implement. The first step would be to contact egg companies and determine which stores they would like us to implement our services in as an alternative for the egg cartons that are already being sold there. The second step is to install our collection machines in these stores determined by the egg companies and to record the successful reception of our product, and Molly will be going into more detail later about the actual process. Our ultimate goal is to increase the number of grocery stores that implement our service and to expand to other counties and possibly other states within the next 5 years after our startup. The first partner that we'll be having is Braswell Egg Company, and what we will do is have them decide 10 grocery stores within their county, which is Nash County, where they would like us to implement their service. A little bit of background behind Braswell Egg Company or Braswell Foods. They're a 4th generation family-owned corporation. They provide services such as sanitizing, grading, and packaging eggs for labels such as Eggland's Best, Natural Choice, Horizon, and other private labels. They're committed to being environmentally friendly, and they support buying local and sustainable farming. So that makes them a perfect partner for us.
All right, so currently how egg packaging works is, farmers send their eggs to the egg companies where they're packaged. They're packaged in packaging that is bought by a third party. And then they deliver those packaged eggs to grocery stores, and then we buy them as consumers. So we kind of want to change that from being a one-way cycle or a one-way process to being more of a circular cycle. So this would be our process for the egg companies. So they would purchase our reusable egg cartons. Then they would transport the eggs like they always do from the farms to the egg companies where they will be packaged in our reusable cartons. Then they will distribute those to the grocery stores as usual, but when they're there dropping off their eggs, they will receive our returned egg cartons. And then take those back to the packaging plant where they will be washed because they are dishwasher safe. And then they will reload these washed egg cartons with the eggs that are taken from the farms as usual, and then the cycle will start all over again. So, the process for the consumer. First, the customer will purchase eggs packaged in our egg carton, and they will purchase the egg carton one-time cost. They won't have to purchase a second egg carton. It is $4 to purchase an egg carton, but it's a one-time cost. They will go home, empty the carton as usual. They will come back and return the empty carton, and then when they return it in one of our machines, they will receive a card, which we provided. And carry that to throughout the grocery store. They will pick up an egg carton that has already been filled with eggs in our reusable carton. Then they will take the carton and the card to the cashier, and the cashier won't charge them because they've already showed proof that they purchased them.
So some benefits of using conscious cartons. Our cartons can last for an estimated 5 years if cared for properly. If consumers are unable to return a usable carton, they will be required to purchase a new one, which will provide extra income for our company, but also offer incentive to actually reuse the cartons again. In addition, our cartons are biodegradable and made from recycled plastic. So if a carton is damaged and unable to be reused, it's still environmentally safe and can be recycled.
So we have a couple of different ad campaign ideas. One is once we get started after a couple of years and it's implemented in several grocery stores, we would use a similar ad campaign to Got Milk, but with egg cartons. And so one of our slogans that we came up with was "Be eco about your eggs, return your cartons."
Another one is "Be egg credible."
Think of what you could earn if you just returned.
And then our last one is our cartons are durable because they're returnable.
So the projected budget for it, we have a range of costs from our rent, utilities, and the employees, which will be us four, and we have some extra costs, which could be just anything we might have forgot, or also for expanding in the future. The total cost for the first year is $800,000. And our total profits after the first year, after selling all the egg cartons that we are projecting, we'll have $1,600, so we'll be able to pay you back in 5 years. And thank you for considering conscious cartons.
So we have plenty of time, maybe 5-7 minutes, up to 5 or 7 minutes for questions. So you guys can field your own questions, just pick on whoever's got their hands up.
So as from the consumer's perspective, you get the card after a one-time $4 buy. Is the card good for the 5 years that a carton will be worth? So are you getting 5 years of free eggs for $4?
They actually return, the card they just hold while they're in the grocery store.
Okay.
So when you return your cart, you receive a card that's laminated. You just carry it with you throughout the grocery store until you get to the cashier, and then you hand it to them. And
So
then
it's not
they
like
keep
a
it.
take-home package?
It's just to prove that you returned your cart that day.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So if you continue returning your cart and the carton's been replaced, you definitely just continue to have a lifetime of free eggs?
It's not free
It's not
eggs.
free eggs. You still purchase the eggs.
You don't pay for the
return your
carton.
Okay, are the
So the
price
eggs
of
is
eggs
just
changed?
it's the same price as the eggs would be with anybody else, except for that it would not include the packaging cost.
It's kind
So
of
you would get about a, what did we say, like 30-cent discount on your eggs every time?
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, relying on like the consumer to wash the carts, aren't you guys concerned about like foodborne pathogens?
They're actually not going to, oh, sorry, go ahead.
The consumer is not the one washing the carton, it's the egg company, and they would have
Industrial
like,
size.
industrial size
Yes.
dishwashers that can handle that.
So if these egg companies are the ones that are responsible for the transport and washing of these cartons again, what's gonna be the benefit for them to like have all those additional costs versus having consumers just get rid of the waste
Sure.
on their own?
The only additional cost to the egg companies would be washing them, which would just be, purchasing an industrial sized dishwasher, because transporting the cartons back would be on the same trip after they drop off the egg cartons.
Isn't that still a lot of cost with the water use and cleaners?
That might be, but considering they don't have to rebuy cartons every time, because each carton is the average price is about 30 cents across the board, so they won't have to continuously rebuy cartons as often as they do. Yeah.
Did you factor in utilities into your budget? Could we go back to your budget?
Yeah, so utilities is for us and like our business. What we're doing is we're selling the cartons to the company. So we aren't like the ones washing the dishes and everything, so we're not going to be paying for like.
So who washes the dishes?
The egg companies who are,
But do they have to, are they capable of doing that like right now, or do they have to, is that contingent upon them agreeing with you and then buying everything?
they would have to buy a dishwasher.
So
And
you're
industrial
just
size.
shifting that cost over to them, or would you bear that cost?
They would bear that cost, it would be a one-time cost.
And some egg companies also do have dishwashers already because of like their equipment that they use that they need to wash. So they would just be washing the.
So wouldn't that be a suck on the company, like as in from dollars terms? Like they would have to, what would they get out of buying the dishwasher and labor?
They would no longer have to purchase the egg cartons for their eggs.
Because they purchase egg cartons daily.
Uh,
Because we consume about 250 eggs per person per
And they
year.
would make money that
Yeah.
way?
Mhm.
From your guys' economic standpoint, I can see where there's like the initial market for all the companies buying your product, but then since they're good for 5 years, once they buy in bulk, where does that leave you? Because I feel like after the initial first wave of purchasing, it's going to dwindle for you.
Well, we are also relying on the fact that most people won't return their cartons every single time. And some people might keep them. I mean, the average, I think we calculated, people will probably return them every 2 or 3 uses. So that's where our income will come from.
Yeah. Also, after the first year, we plan on expanding to other egg companies.
So the environmental benefit obviously is that there's no styrofoam going into landfills or whatever. But what happens? You have to wash the cartons every time. So is washing the cartons on that scale better for the environment than just recycling styrofoam containers?
They actually make water, environmentally, like more water efficient dishwashers. So it's actually more environmentally friendly to wash the cartons than to purchase new styrofoam and continuously build up the landfills.
Because a lot of places aren't able to recycle styrofoam, because it's so hard to break down that material and so hard to recycle it. So they end up, even if you put it in your bin at the side of the curb, a lot of times it just ends up in landfills anyway.
Okay, and then what happens if someone just misplaces their carton or for whatever reason they don't return it? Does that carton end up in a landfill, or is it somehow better for the environment than the styrofoam ones?
Yeah, it might end up in the landfill, but it's biodegradable, so that would be okay.
Okay.
So what about the detergents used to wash the cartons? Because like I know there's eco-friendly detergents or whatever, but those are a lot more expensive. So would you like have to persuade the companies to use these eco-friendly ones? And then like in that case, detergents still come in plastic bottles and stuff. So like you're still technically producing more waste because
Well-
you have to like recycle those plastic containers.
Right. Well, we can't. I mean, we try to be as environmentally friendly as we can. The actual washing of the cartons will be on the egg companies, so it'll be up to them what kind of detergent they use, what kind of dishwasher they purchase, what kind of detergent it takes in. So hopefully, but their overall environmental impact would be much less.
Maybe one more question? Or two more?
Yeah, you can go first.
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of confused in what sort of materials you're using, because it sounded like you were using plastic that's like harder and more durable, but you also said it's biodegradable. Is there biodegradable plastics? And then do those plastics, you hear a lot about like BPA and things like that. Do those have any like human effects after continuous washings?
I believe we're talking about plastic number 1, correct? And just using that like in thicker quantities, and that kind of plastic is more biodegradable. Plastic number 7 is the only one I think that has like BPA like side effects, so that shouldn't be a problem in that case.
Yeah.
At whose discretion is it that the returnable egg cartons are no longer usable and you have to buy a new one? Because if it's the stores, what keeps them from saying every time that, oh, you have to get a new one this time, doesn't look clean?
We're gonna have a barcode on each carton, and when you return it, it scans the barcode, and so after so many uses, that container would not be used.
What if it was like just damaged, like broken in half or something?
It wouldn't feed through. It's like similar to a returnable can. If they're crushed so much, it won't even be able to go back into the returnable machine. In which case, they won't be able to receive a card, and they'll have to repurchase the new one.
Okay, so it's a machine that's taking in?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's kind of similar, like bringing back the system of like the milkman or like the glass Coke bottles, but we're just doing this sort of system as egg cartons instead.
So the grocery store buys the cartons from you guys, or the egg
The
company?
egg companies purchase the egg cartons from us.
Okay, so then,
Here, I'll show you our
right,
slide.
so then that would be a cost on the egg company, which then the grocery store would buy the eggs from the egg company, right?
Correct.
Okay, so what is stopping the grocery store from saying to the consumer, no, this isn't usable, we want you to buy a new carton so that we can then go buy new eggs and then make a profit for ourselves? Why is that?
Sure, it's all machine run. So it would be the machine that would be determining if it was usable or not, depending on how many uses it's gone through.
Okay.
When its barcode is scanned.
Okay.
And also if it's not able to actually get into the machine, then it's obviously not usable.
All right.
Matt,
No,
okay, so, I wanted to ask this first, but I forgot. Is this proprietary, or is there a patent on this from some, like, has this been invented, or would you guys hold the patent for this?
There are like reusable egg cartons you can buy online, and that would be more of like if I own my own chickens and I just wanted a place to keep my eggs, then I can just like use that.
Yeah, are there patents on those? Because that would
No,
go.
we searched for those, but there aren't any patents so far.
So would you guys factor in, because you would have to come up with a patent, did you guys factor in, costs for the patent office to get the patent passed?
We didn't factor in those, but we did factor in $17,000 for like any unexpected things. So that could be one of the unexpected things we didn't include.
Okay, good job.